episode of the Launcher Farm Show, where I interview Shubha Dasgupta with Capital Lending Center and the CLC Network. Shubha and I discuss how he went from working as an entrepreneur in the environmentally friendly packaging industry to kind of falling into the mortgage industry by chance. He had a major life-changing event that totally altered his life and his business. In this episode, Shubha and I talk about how helping your preferred partners will ultimately grow your own business. Shubha shares how he puts in systems and tools like data analytics and follow-up systems into his company that give tremendous value to the real estate agents they serve, and how you can use similar ideas with your mortgage professionals. We also talk about why video is a must in your farm and how you can start doing some simple videos to gain traction. And we talk about a super easy way to follow up with your clients and your farm to provide a ton of value at the same time getting more referrals. And we talk about why your mortgage professionals and preferred vendors should be working alongside you in your business and not just serving your clients, and how to get them on board. Plus, we share a ton of other great insights and ahas that you can apply to your business today. So be sure to check out this episode, like and subscribe, let us know what you think, and enjoy the episode with Shubha. Thanks for joining us on the Launcher Farm Show. We got a great guest. It's Shubha Dasgupta from CLC Network. Shubha, take a second, tell us a bit about yourself and a bit about your business and why you're here.
Hey, Ryan, how are you?
I'm
Always
doing good.
great to connect with you. Love to collaborate, and it's great to have that opportunity once again. Thanks so much for the introduction. My name is Shubha Dasgupta. Right now, I'm the CEO of the Capital Lending Center and the CLC Network. Today, we're amongst the fastest growing mortgage companies in Canada, over 260 mortgage agents represented across 8 different mortgage brands. And really what our goal and differentiator in our industry today is to bring centralized services and support to mortgage agents. Make sure that they have the tools, the systems, and the resources to be successful at their careers. And part of that, which is why we're connected here today, is how they can apply those tools and resources to their partners, more specifically real estate agents, in bringing value to their business as well.
Yeah, and I know it's a big part of your business, so we'll want to get into that as we go along. But let's start out with kind of how you got into the business. I know you've got a kind of interesting story, so share with us what brought you to the mortgage industry and what that looks like now.
Oh man, what brought me to the mortgage industry? Well, I mean, we're talking over a decade ago. And, I think probably like a lot of your viewers, a lot of real estate agents, as well as a lot of mortgage agents, nobody really dreamed of entering into this career.
Yeah.
When you're 6 years old, and somebody asked you, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? I don't think anybody stands up and says, I want to be a mortgage broker.
Yeah.
And even later in their lives, when we get into university, college, and people ask you, hey, what are you going to do? You get, I want to be in marketing. I want to be a firefighter. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a doctor. I want to be in business admin. Still, nobody really looks as a mortgage agent or a mortgage broker as a career opportunity.
Yeah.
So just like many others before me, because of those reasons, I kind of fell into this career and I kind of fell into this industry. My journey really began, at a wedding. And at this wedding, it's funny, right? So at this wedding, here I am, and celebrating the nuptials of some old high school friends of mine. And I'm in the elevator of this banquet hall. It was on the second floor of a building in downtown Toronto, and I was on my way down the elevator, and my phone rings. And back then, like I'm talking 13 years ago, your phone just doesn't ring in an elevator.
Yeah.
So everyone's looking at me and they're staring at me like, what's that? So I answer, and it's my dad, and he says, Shubha, you got to come quick. Your mom's been in a car accident. So I run upstairs. I grab my, at the time, girlfriend, Donna, and I'm like, we got to go. Like, we got to get to my mom. So back downstairs, back to my car. Father of the bride actually stops me and says, you can't drive. What's wrong?
Yeah.
Let me breathe for a minute. Got me connected with a friend of mine who actually drove me to my mom, and off we go. And why I share that story is because at the time I was actually running a biodegradable packaging company, and we were, producing reusable bags that were 100% biodegradable, 100% sustainable. And that was the career and that was the business I was in.
Yeah.
When I was at this wedding and I got that call and my mom got into this car accident, I had to make a decision because she was on life support for about 18 days and we didn't know how long it was going to be. She was in the ICU for another 35, and I had to make a decision between my mom or that business.
Yeah.
And I obviously chose my mom.
Yep.
And coming out of that business, and my mom recovered, Ryan, as you know the story, but for all your viewers, my mom recovered, thankfully. And what came out of that was the unknown. that I didn't know what was the next business opportunity for me as an entrepreneur. Always had a passion for real estate, always had a passion for finance. And that led me to the mortgage industry. And that's what brought me here today. And, over 13 years later, I wouldn't change it for the world. I've met the most amazing people, and we've helped, hundreds of Canadians get into homes. And I'm really looking forward to what the next part of the journey brings.
Yeah. And you've had an awesome career, and definitely not a typical one over the last 12 or 13 years. So why don't I'll take a second to kind of tell my viewers of how we know each other and what that looks like. So Shubha and I met 11 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
11 years ago. And you had a Facebook group, and it was called, what was the
Helping
name?
GTA Realtors Close More Deals.
Right. And I was part of that group, and you were sharing information, you were providing value to real estate agents. And I know for you, that was a big differentiator for you when you were getting started. So tell us a bit about what that looked like for you and why you started that way, because it was a very different approach than most mortgage brokers, which is the send me all your business and I have the best rate. So talk a bit about that, and then we can talk about how things have transitioned for you.
Absolutely. I mean, I think what gets us into this business is, really being able to help people, help Canadians get the right financing, save on interest rates, get into home ownership. But part of that helping means also helping the partners that are involved in the industry with us, helping other stakeholders, helping other team members, and those that are a part of that story for that customer. So when I began my career and I started looking at this business from a help perspective, I asked myself, well, who else can I help and how else can I bring value? And real estate agents were just kind of the obvious for me. Here's a group of people that do a tremendous job of working with their customers and helping them find homes, helping them build wealth through real estate, all of these incredible objectives.
Yeah.
What can I do to be a part of that story with them? And how can I support their growth? So it really began off of that premise and off of that vision. And from there, I began brainstorming. You try things, you fail things. I think we all did. And from those failures, I learned that, hey, this is going to be a great way for me to share some of the things that I've learned along my journey.
Yep.
Let them learn from some of my failures, because sales is sales at the end of the day, regardless of what you're selling.
Yep.
And it'll help me provide them some value and accelerate and motivate their careers. So I started that Facebook page, as you mentioned, it was about 11, 12 years ago. And, with a very small ad budget, I began promoting kind of resources and articles and CRMs and tools that real estate agents might use. I began sharing some of my stories of successes and failures, and really began connecting with a lot of real estate agents. And honestly, over a decade later, and you and I are a perfect example of that. When I look back at those early days, some of the best relationships that I have even today started from that Facebook group. And I'm so grateful for that opportunity.
Yeah. And it was a breath of fresh air for me, from my perspective. And that led into a friendship, not just a business relationship. And for me, the thing that stood out was you were there to help and not just steal business or try to get the business skimming off the top. And in my experience, a lot of mortgage brokers in the business tend to just try to get the business from you. Like I said, they offer the best rates, or I can get the deal done. And to me, there's more than that. And I've always used the example of real estate agent is in the real estate world, we're the center of the hub, and we're the ones who generally feed out the business to the mortgage broker, to the lender, or to the home inspector, to the stager, to the moving companies. And we're the ones kind of giving the business. And when I was looking for someone to work with for a mortgage, I wanted someone who could maybe not have to give me a bunch of referrals, but who's going to help me grow my business. And that's how we started working together.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. And I think it really reminds me of a quote, and I know you're a big reader, so I'm sure you've read this quote and heard this quote from a very famous sales coach, Mr. Zig Ziglar, rest in peace, that said, you will always get what you want in life if you help enough others get what they want.
Yeah.
And that's really what it was. It was, how can I help my real estate partners? And I looked at it from that perspective. You know that very well.
Yeah.
How do I help my partners achieve their goals and be a part of their success?
Yeah, exactly. And right from the beginning, we started with some creative ideas, and I want to kind of talk briefly about those ideas. But the premise, what I want for the show is to show my listeners that it's not just about you when it comes to your farm. And by bringing in your professionals, you can provide more value to your community, to your farm, to your clients, and to your other professionals that you work with as well. And the more you work together, the more value you're going to provide. And it's a true testament to your business and how you've grown it. It's been tremendous for your own business and the agents that work for you by providing that model. So
Absolutely.
when we started, one of the first things that we did was we started doing video. And I'm kind of embarrassed to, I'll throw it out there so people can check it out if they want to go back and see some of our old videos. Are you okay with us sharing that?
I love it. The real estate drive-through.
Yeah. So if you go on YouTube, you can search the real estate drive-through. That was my first time ever doing videos. And I think it was your first-ish time you were just kind of getting started. And I know for you, you got the idea from someone else who had shared the premise and how he was doing it in his business. And we did it and we ran with it. We didn't know what the heck we were doing. And I know looking back, I'm sure now we would change things, but we just did it. And that was the key for us.
And I think that's, 90% of the problem in for new salespeople, whether mortgage or real estate, it's that fear of the mistake, fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
For us, it was, what do we have to lose, right?
Yeah.
Let's do these videos. Let's put them out there. Maybe one person's going to watch it, maybe 100. And I know, Ryan, sometimes I pop back on that YouTube channel and some of those videos today have thousands of views. Like people are still watching them all these years later. And we were okay with with making mistakes and not really worrying about making it perfect. And I think that's one of the first obstacles that any sales professional has to overcome.
Like you said, we were willing to do it. We learned it and figured it out as we went, and we got better. I know when we switched, we went from good sound but crappy video, and then we ended up getting a better camera, which had better sound, but then our better video, but then our sound wasn't good, and we just kind of worked through it. But at the end of the day, the premise of it is we were helping each other and helping our businesses kind of grow and figure out what works and what works for each other.
Absolutely, right? The main focus was making sure that, our customers were getting informed, they were getting information. We were building a relationship. So during that process, we were getting to know each other.
Yep.
We were also learning from each other. We spent a lot of times, I think one of the things that video really helped both of us do was, before we're going to do a video, we had to research the subject matter. We weren't going to just talk about it. So it got us accelerated in learning about our business, you were learning about real estate. I was learning about the finance side. And I think learning together really helped solidify our relationship on so many other endeavors that we decided to take on over the next couple of years.
So I know that was kind of the roots of what happened or how you grew your business. So how did you grow your mortgage brokerage? And by kind of the lessons you've learned from that and putting into it, you've grown tremendously well. So what does it look like for you from the evolution from working as a solo agent or a mortgage broker to growing your mortgage brokerage? And what did that look like for you?
Yeah, well, you know what? That's a great question. And the funny thing is, and I'm going to share our vision statement with you in a second, is it was those core relationships actually throughout my career, as well as, my co-founder, Kendall, and some of the people who were around us in those early days that really brought our company to life. And what our vision statement is the CLC Network provides us brokerages, brokers, and agents with the systems, tools, and support required to provide their referral partners and clients with a seamless customer experience. Yeah. So everything that we've done as a company, which has made us amongst the fastest growing mortgage companies in Canada today, funding over $1 billion a year annually in loans, is solely based on the premise that we are looking for our agents to better service their partners and their clients. And from there, it began to grow with technology, with tools, with resources, with training, with different support departments, but always with that clear vision, which is so interesting, 13 years later, coming back to where it all began, which is the fundamental core belief of our company is that our mortgage agents have to bring value to their partners. Yeah.
And I brought that up for that exact reason, because I know that's a key part of how you've grown the business, and just not just the business side of it, but your general life philosophy in providing that value. And I want the real estate agents listening, or any mortgage brokers listening to this as well, to understand that the relationships at the beginning may not seem as important, or they may not seem as, you may not understand where it's going, but those key relationships and those key business partnerships that you're building now can turn into something absolutely incredible as you go down the road.
Oh, so many incredible things come from it, right? And I think One of the most important things from that perspective to realize, it's actually two that I'm going to give you. And these are two things that I think that separate good salespeople from great salespeople. And the first one is what versus how. I think good salespeople will always present you what.
Yeah.
Great salespeople will show you how. And when looking at these type of relationships and how mortgage agents and realtors can collaborate together, the how becomes very important. So it's not so much about, hey, Ryan, I'd love to provide you great service and the lowest interest rates. That's a what.
Yeah.
But how am I going to provide you that great service? How am I going to deliver that to you, to your customers? What does it translate to and what does it mean? How am I going to get you the lowest interest rates? I should have a roadmap or a plan for how I'm going to present that to my partner,
Yeah.
or else it makes me no different than everybody else.
Yeah.
And the second thing is purpose and intent. What is the purpose and intent behind what you're hoping to achieve and accomplish from that relationship? If the purpose and intent is to bring value to help increase, customer satisfaction, great. If the purpose and intent is to help my partner or my real estate agent increase their business and maybe their visibility within their farm, fantastic.
Yeah.
But it's very important to have what versus how and purpose and intent when building those relationships.
Yeah. And I think that's critical, especially if you're a newer agent and you haven't built those relationships yet, to really look for a person, really anyone, not just a mortgage broker, but any partnership that you're going to be working with, to make sure that that's a staple and a key element of building those future relationships. But also on the flip side, to make sure that you're providing that same value as well. And a lot of people will look for what can I get, and people have to keep in mind, like, you need to be able to give that same commitment to them and helping their business and helping them grow, and if you really want it to work.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, we have to look at it as our business,
Yeah.
right? It's not his or hers and mine. It's ours. It's, every single one of your clients, Ryan, whether I did the financing or not, was always a part of our conversation. You would come to me, hey, Shubha, they're going to the bank. This is what their option is. Yeah, you know what? I think that's a great option. Or they might come up with this obstacle. Be prepared for it. We were always working together. And it was never about yours or mine. It was about ours. And I think, again, it's perspective, purpose, and intent, right?
Exactly. So I want to kind of dive down into what are you guys doing specifically? And for the listeners checking this out, what can they maybe ask of or hopefully get from their mortgage broker if they're not using your company as it is? So, like, what are you guys specifically working on, and what kind of value you're providing to your agents, just so people can understand and kind of get a bigger picture of what it is you guys do?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I think from a start point, like, just to kind of give you guys a good understanding, what our business is built off of is three main pillars, which are support, training, and culture. And the three important ones, I think, for today's conversation, well, actually four, are kind of within that support and the train pillar. So our support pillar essentially offers all mortgage agents across the country with a centralized underwriting department. So this is a team of professionals whose sole purpose and sole job is to understand all mortgage products, guidelines, and opportunity solutions for their customers.
Yeah.
So when a mortgage agent is working with their realtor, working with their customer, whoever it may be, they know that they have an expert team of professionals behind them to design the perfect solution to meet that customer's needs. The second is marketing, heavily driven through marketing automation and making sure that we're connecting and keeping in contact with customers. And I'll touch a little bit on that shortly. A big one today is data analytics. In the mortgage industry, we have access to some incredible data, and it really provides us an opportunity to deliver an exceptional experience to our customers.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, for example, we're able to use data to determine cost savings for our customers. Where can we help them save money on interest rates as interest rates are dropping? And, for customers, as we're reaching out to them, obviously it's a good news story for them. We're coming to them with information to help save them money.
Yeah.
How can we do that the same for our realtor partners? We always look at that. So how can we bring that same information to our realtors to help you solidify and strengthen the relationships with your already existing customers? And then finally, training. Obviously, having an organization so heavily focused on education ensures that everybody that our partners are working with have up-to-date info. They're armed with the most knowledge. They're scripted, they're professional, they're trained, and they're going to be able to deliver, what we expect our agents to be delivering essentially.
So let's dive into a little more detail on some of those things, because I think it's important. I mean, from a high level, it sounds great, but like what on a day-to-day, what kind of things are your mortgage agents actually doing with your
Yeah.
realtor partners on a day-to-day basis?
So let's look at it first. I think from the one thing that I want to kind of tie into this conversation is technology, and it's not because I think technology is everything. I think technology is very obviously a big part of today's story, and where technology becomes a big part of today's world and today's success stories is not so much just the word of saying I have technology. It's how meaningful does your technology integrate everything that you're trying to accomplish, right? So for example, for our realtor partners, I'll take you through like what a story could look like for that relationship and how technology works within those pillars. So I mentioned to you what versus how. So if a mortgage agent today comes to you and says, "Hey Ryan, like I'd love to work with you. I'm able to provide you the greatest service." Well, that's the what.
Yeah.
So today our mortgage agents can say, "Well, hey Ryan, I'm able to provide you the greatest level of service, and this is how." You know what? When I have 1, 2, 3 deals, obviously, you know that my focus is going to be on those customers and making sure that they're my first priority. But my business is going to grow as my career grows. What happens when I have 5, 6, 7 deals, 10, 20, 30 deals? Well, the one thing that I don't want to happen to you is my service level begins lacking. Customers get slower response times. I'm not available when you need me. So in order for me to provide you a solution to that, I want you to know that I have an expert team of professionals that work as my underwriting department. They help design out solutions and even handle all of the administrative flow of that deal. So they'll do all of the document collection, they'll do all of the back and forth with the lender, and they'll make sure that your customer has the best solution specific for them. That ensures that my face is not buried in T1 generals and pay stubs, down payment verification. That ensures that I'm available for when you need me to do a video, or when you need me to answer some of your clients' questions, or just when they're looking for someone to help them through because they have some questions.
Yeah.
The second thing that we always go to from that perspective is the marketing element. And the marketing element to me is huge, because marketing to me actually starts with communication. That's really all it is. And if we ask realtors, and I have, because I've surveyed hundreds of them across the country when we started building this technology, the number one complaint that we had from real estate partners was that my mortgage agent didn't get back to me timely and keep me in the loop of that transaction.
Yeah.
So what we've been able to do through the technology and through our marketing automation is our realtor partner actually gets attached to that file for the life of the loan. So all of the loans that we do with our real estate agents, that realtor sits at the top of that hierarchy. And what that allows us to do is that as it moves through the progression, the workflow of the mortgage kind of life, as it has to, submitted to the lender, approved, et cetera, the realtor is automatically kept informed of the status of that file. They know when the deal has been approved, they know when the deal is ready to close, they know when it's funded. But beyond that, Ryan, it actually acts as a backup CRM for those partners that don't have one. We actually notify the realtor on the anniversary of that transaction. Because the realtor is tagged to that customer, every time we follow up with the customer throughout the life of the loan, and there's about 60 times that we touch base with the client over a 5-year term, we actually reference the real estate agent. So if they have any home buying questions, what's going on in the market, we bring them right back to the realtor, right? So that marketing automation becomes very important. But beyond that, it allows us an opportunity. We believe very heavily in segmentation. It allows us an opportunity to really mine those customers and find further opportunity for our partners. So, one of the things I love saying to realtors today is, hey, Ryan, like imagine that I was able to provide you pre-qualified vetted leads with a high probability of close. What would you say?
Absolutely. Sign me up.
Well,
For how much?
Ryan, I'm able to do that because now I'm able to actually send your customers back to you. And I'll give you an example of how. So a few months ago, we ran some data analytics, and on our portfolio, we were able to analyze which customers, based on how much liquid assets they had after closing, as well as equity established in their property, could be eligible for the potential purchase of an investment property.
Yeah.
We quickly did an ROI analysis on that purchase. And because that realtor is tagged to that customer on our system, we send that information back to our realtor partners and say, hey, Ryan, remember that customer we worked with 2 years ago? Well, they may be eligible for the purchase of an investment property. This is why. Let's present this information to them and let's see if this is something that they're interested in. So I think there's tremendous ways for us to collaborate together and really bring value to each other's business. I think what it really took was people that were willing to look for it and find those reasons for us to build those relationships.
Yeah.
And then finally, Ryan, kind of just to finish off that story and that journey, becomes the final component, which is retention business. So how do we make a customer for life?
Yeah.
And a lot of the ways that happens is obviously through the marketing, through that segmentation, but a lot of it through understanding our business. So we can help our realtors understand who their customer is. What is the average credit score of your customer? What is the average income size of your customer? What is the postal code that you primarily work with?
Yeah.
And with that, we can sit down, develop marketing strategies and ways to target that key demographic, or find voids and gaps that you might not be looking at and say, hey, we got a lot of business here, but maybe we should try to expand and get some more business here. Yeah. That's what I call a true partnership and working together.
Exactly. And a lot of people in this business know that we get deals when life changes happen, marriage, divorce, kids, job change, whatever. But there's other opportunities to get business when you can look for it. Like you said, when you know what to look for. I know personally, I've had clients who, just by keeping them up to date on what's happening in the market, when they see that house, well, if that house sold for that, there's enough money for us there to now get the cottage or to sell that and get into something else. And by keeping them educated and keeping them up to date with the right information and arming them with the right financial information can be a huge lead generation for your own business and can be valuable for both the mortgage and the agent, because
absolutely
everyone wants to work together. So from a geographic farm area, so looking into a specific area, what kind of things do you see mortgage brokers being able to help with agents specifically with localized stuff?
I love it. And I think there's so much that comes from it, right? And I'll give you kind of 2 or 3 that I know we're doing with a lot of success right now. Yeah. One from a perspective of being able to add another person to the team of working that farm. For example, you're sending out mailers, you're sending out information, you're kind of building a presence within that community, right? So working with your mortgage agent, I know a lot of ours do this. They'll help cover the cost of a lot of that stuff, just for the relationship, not so much for the lead generation component of it. It's for the relationship. It's, Ryan, if we're going to work together, I want to be invested in your business. So how can I be invested in your business? So that's an easy one, obviously, from a cost perspective. But then we go into it from, more details. And I know that previously, some of the things that we've done together in terms of value adds and things like that are providing customers within the farm information, right? So information on your local area. Here's the local businesses. Here's some of the, the community dry cleaner, the community pizza shop. Here's a school rating system. Well, I think that our partners, your partners, should be helping you with a lot of that legwork, right? So can they access some of that data? Can they go knock on some of the community business doors and maybe get a discount package, something that you can offer to your customers? Really help build that presence within the community. I think that this partner should be involved with any door knocking initiatives. So you guys are doing it together. It's always better to do it together than alone, right? Little more comfort, helps answer some more questions. It really helps identify, who you're looking for and how you can help. I think hosting open houses together within communities, so that, again, you can get to know the people who are coming in. You can get to meet the potential buyers and really build that prominence in that community, really build that visibility in that community together. So I think those are a couple things that people can do. Obviously, there's quite a bit more.
Like, just to the open house, obviously with COVID, people are starting to get back into them. But I know that's one thing that not a lot of mortgage brokers do, and a lot of agents don't bring that on. And that alone can just be a great way to differentiate yourself when you've got professionals there and people can talk to someone. The other thing I find is, if you have someone who's there from a mortgage perspective, they may be willing to have a conversation in a different way than they would with the agent, because they're worried the agent's trying to sell them on the house or try to they're working for the home seller versus a mortgage broker can be kind of a non-biased third party person to have a conversation about. And the other thing is, I've always said with marketing, you're going to put out an offer and they may not bite. You're going to put out an offer and they may not bite. You're going to put out an offer and they may not bite. And having extra offers, mortgage related, any other industries related, into your mix is going to increase your chances of having someone put their hand up and say, I'm interested, because they may just be a refinance now, but through that process, they may refinance and then say, you know what, it's actually better to move up, or we may just sell completely because we've got equity and we didn't know. So the more offers you have, the higher chance everyone's
Absolutely. It happens a lot, right? And, our agents do a lot of open houses. And, I hear some of the stories that customer came in, they were just really looking to see what's going on. They live in the neighborhood, got into a conversation with the mortgage agent. They started talking about potential refinancing of their property. And then they realized, well, hey, you know what? I can refinance my property and maybe purchase something else as an investment. And they use that realtor that was just doing an open house. You mentioned that in the pandemic right now, obviously open houses are a little bit less, 100%. Some of the creative things that some of our agents have been doing with some of their partners are like virtual open houses.
Yep.
And there's some great opportunity for leverage marketing from that perspective, because I know our mortgage agents are sharing it on their network with their database as well. Hey, I'm doing this virtual open house with my partner. Come check it out, get a tour of the inside of the property. We're going to be answering questions for an hour, talking about the market, etc.
Yeah.
So again, unique and creative ways to really bring value and really work together.
Exactly. And I think if you decide to get together and do a project like we did our videos when we first started, it may not be videos, but when you can actually work together on something, it builds the professional relationship, it builds the personal relationship, it helps you get to know them. And by doing that, you can then start having ideas come in. And I can't think of how many ideas we came up with just brainstorming and coming up with ideas that on our own, we probably wouldn't have come up with. And just that open dialogue and going, well, what's your business? Like, what's happening with you? What are you struggling with? We were able to really work together and create opportunities for both people, which was awesome.
Absolutely. And I think, one of those things, Ryan, and I still talk about it today, I don't even know if you remember it, is when we embarked on the niche real estate. Remember, we did the nurse real estate, then we went to fire real estate, police real estate. So we created those niche markets. We went to the HR departments. We went to all these places. And it was a tremendous opportunity for us to grow and thrive as people, as professionals, as well as solidify a lot of community relationships. I remember we did quite a good job of branding ourselves in the community.
And having two of us, we were able to think differently and see opportunities and ideas in it from a different perspective, and leverage your connections, leverage my connections, and put them together, which was key.
Absolutely.
I think, and the theme that's been coming up over the last few interviews that I've done is video and how important video is. From a mortgage perspective, what are you guys working on from a video perspective, and what do you think would be a good opportunity for agents to do video with their mortgage professionals?
Yeah, listen, you know how I feel about video. I think that if you're not doing video, you're losing out, right? And the first thing about video, the first critical thing about video before, the details and information and all that kind of good stuff is, in the digital world, in the world of, online and emails and texts and Instagram DMs and things like that, very difficult to get to know somebody. Very difficult to get their personality and their character and whether you trust them and want to work with them or not. But video immediately allows us an opportunity to connect with our customers. They get to see us, they get to hear us, they get to hear how we speak and how we carry and conduct ourselves. And that goes a long way into building the trust in the virtual world. So I think from that perspective, all salespeople should definitely be doing videos and connecting with their customers. The second part about video is that I don't know if always people understand exactly what to do with that video. Like sometimes, and when we first started, Ryan, you and I were in that boat. We would create a video and we would post it on YouTube. And at the time that was the platform, we would share it on Facebook. And, that was about the extent of it in the early days. But then the video started becoming more and, have a customer looking to purchase a second home. Well, hey, why don't you check out this video that I did? And it'll give you some more information, right? So now we've turned it into like an email marketing campaign. Then you can use those videos as snippets. I created a video series shortly after some of the stuff we did on the closing process for a mortgage agent, like from a mortgage agent standpoint.
Yeah.
And as my customers went on this journey with me, I would send them these little 30-second snippet videos.
Nice.
Next step, this is what you're going to expect.
Nice.
Here's some information on closing costs, right?
Yeah.
So what can you do with those videos? But I think to come back to your question, Ryan, in terms of how can a mortgage agent and realtor collaborate on videos, information and process. Those are the two main things. So making sure that customers have information at their fingertips throughout the entire process. So let's talk about, different products, different solutions, different guidelines. Today I would tell you, Ryan, a couple of big things that I think all realtors should know about is purchase plus improvements.
Yes.
I think that, helping people get into a home and being able to not sell them their dream home, but turn it into their dream home is very powerful, because it's hard to find your dream home in a competitive landscape. But on that note, there's also a very important tool available to us all, which are cashback mortgages right now. So some lenders are offering great rates, the best rates, with 3% cashback, 5% cashback. That could be used towards closing costs. That could be used towards land transfer tax. That could be used towards improving the property on things above and beyond a purchase plus improvement. So finding opportunity where it didn't exist is really what information is about, right?
And I actually want to touch on the purchase plus improvement, because you were the one who introduced me to that. My own personal mortgage, when I bought this place and you did that, we did the purchase plus improvements. I bought a fixer upper, and had I not worked with you and had I not known that opportunity I would have skipped over, because I wouldn't have known. But the real value for me was then, by having that knowledge or that information, I've got clients, purchase plus improvement mortgages, who were so thankful and it was able to close more deals because they were able to actually do the work they wanted. And I always call it the if only mortgage, where it's if only it had this bathroom, if only I could do the renovations, if only I could do this. And it's like, I just solve your problem because you don't have the cash. And if only you could do that, we can get you into place and you can do the renovations and do the work. And that came from that relationship with you and that education on your part. And you not just educating my clients, but educating me on it. I could understand and I could have that conversation with my clients, obviously, enough to get them to say, hey, here, talk to you.
Absolutely. And I love that. The if only mortgage. I'm going to steal that one from you, Ryan.
So it's important. And I think the other thing, going back to the videos as well, is that you talked about segmenting, and you said having your database segmented. And that's really where really powerful things are. Like you said, where are they at in the process? You can create a video for however you have it segmented. And I had Matt Santagapit on, and he was talking, because he does a video series, and he basically has cataloged his whole city of restaurants and places. And so he's got his database segmented to dads and parents and football lovers and pet owners. And then now you can create a video and say, okay, on pets, and do that. But you could also do that with mortgages, and depending on what stage they're at, time-wise, how long have they been in their home. You could do a video with your mortgage professional and say, okay, hey, you may be renewing, and creating that content, which is really powerful.
Absolutely. And I think beyond that, it's important to include your partner in there. So for example, let's say, my 3-year process video today, there's a statistic that 67% of Canadians break their mortgage in the 3rd year. Nobody's really been able to validate it, but the statistic lives out there, right? So I'm not at all saying that it's true. It just lives. But let's just say that it's true. So I do have a 3-year video that I had pre-recorded and sent to my customers. But what if now, Ryan, that I had a video with you? So all of your customers that I work with, they don't get my general 3-year video. They get our 3-year video. And that 3-year video talks about how now might be a great time for you to consider things like getting a home equity line of credit. You've probably established some equity, tapping into that. And then you step in with, now might also be an opportunity for you to consider your growing needs. Are you building a family? Do you have more space requirements? How about your location? Is it still close to work? Is it still easy? And does it meet the requirements that it did 3 years ago? And if we look at video from a different perspective, rather than just, some people look at video just from, I want to push myself and promote what I have. But it's also an educational opportunity. Whenever we want to learn, and I want us to all think about ourselves when we think about this, when something breaks in our house, or we're looking to fix something, or we're looking to landscape the backyard. That's a big one right now in the pandemic.
Yeah.
Where do we all go? We go to YouTube, and we try to watch some videos on how do we fix this, or how do I do this landscaping. That's powerful because people learn through video. So have some video for your process with your partner. And, you know, I would love nothing more if I was in the mortgage world still selling mortgages, that every single realtor that I was working with today, I would have a video series post-close for for our customers. So from the moment that transaction closes, we do a video together. Congratulations, welcome to your home. Here's your next steps. Maybe 6 months later, here's what you need to know today. A year and a half later, 3 years later, 5 years later, even down to, hey, if you have any family and friends that are looking to buy, we'd love an opportunity to service them. And those are ways that you can use video unconventionally, but leverage each other. Because you'll have different touch points, all have different touch points. Together, we have a lot of touch points.
Exactly. And that's one of the biggest things that I hear agents say all the time is, I don't know what to do. What do I send? It's like, there's so many opportunities. You got to think creatively, and you got to think, how can I provide value outside of just the typical transaction? The other thing I think too with mortgages, and this is not a shot at the mortgage industry, but the mortgage industry isn't sexy as far as being on TV. There's no selling mortgages, or there's no LA mortgage TV. But it doesn't mean that there's not an opportunity. So to say, it doesn't mean there's not an opportunity for you to personalize and create that, because a lot of people just may look at the transaction of a mortgage and go, oh, it's a analytical numbers thing and I don't need to worry about it. But if you can bring your mortgage personality out, and you can provide education and show people that your partner is a real person, and you have a team of professionals and they can get to know you, that video will help do that. And they may never have to meet the person, but it just shows that there's a real person and there's personality on the other side of it, not just someone handing documents and getting things signed.
You know what, Ryan? It reminds me of two things. One is that I have two things. And one is that our business is like, the mortgage industry is very cool because we all do the same thing differently. And think about it for a second. We all have access to the same banks, the same lenders, the same interest rates, the same products. So in essence, we all do the same thing. But I bet you've never met two mortgage agents that do it the same. Because they all bring their own flavor. They all bring their own personality. They all bring their own uniqueness to the business. And that's where it becomes very important for us to showcase who we are as people and how that can resonate with our audience, right?
And that's huge. And I think having the right person to work with, and if anyone's working with someone that they're not happy with, that's on them. But if you should be working with someone that you do connect with, because like you said, they're all doing the same, they have the same products, the same information. It's finding someone that you know you can work with, that you resonate well with, that you have similar values, similar kind of ideas and kind of end goal to work with. And when you do that, both people's goals will be met and both people will help accelerate their business.
That's it. And you know, there's something important that I always leave with our salespeople through some of the training and the conversations that we have, which is that nobody likes to be sold, but everybody likes to buy. And our job, and when we look at videos, I want people to think about that as kind of a statement, because when you're doing video, when you're doing any collaborative work together with your partner, you're not trying to sell somebody anything. You're actually trying to help them buy. And when you reference, you know, our mortgage agents, you know, you're absolutely right. Mortgage agents aren't sexy. You know, I might be, but I'm just joking. The industry isn't as a whole. But what we're doing from that perspective, Ryan, is we're helping people buy. So we're helping you get the money you need to buy something. And for a customer, they love it, right? That's what they want.
Exactly. So to wrap up, what's one thing you think one great piece of advice for agents and or either with a mortgage broker already or not? What's one piece of advice you would say right now that they can actually go out and implement in their business?
Good question. So from a realtor standpoint or from a mortgage agent standpoint?
We'll do both. We might as well throw both out there.
So what do I think that so I'll start with a mortgage agent just because I live in that world. And a lot of people think that our industry is running towards technology and digital, and you know what, that everybody's on the internet. That's where you got to get your business from.
Yeah.
When people run away from the fire, Ryan, you know this about me, I run towards it.
Yeah.
And I'm a big believer in relationship. So mortgage agents out there, go build relationships with other people in the industry, with our realtor partners. We need to work together. We need to build this community stronger. Ryan, you called it the hub. I call it the ecosystem.
Yeah.
We all live in this ecosystem together, and we share these customers. We share these clients. Let's work together. Let's strive together. Let's drive together. And let's do it for the right reasons together, which is to give that customer the goal of getting into home ownership. For our realtor partners out there and the real estate agents watching, I think I'm going to carry that theme. And I think it all starts from a relationship standpoint. Yes, on the real estate side, a lot more of the leads are being generated online in today's world versus previous. But that doesn't mean that you can't build strong and meaningful relationships with the people in your community, right? With the partners that you're working with the businesses. And, really the premise of your show is community-based business, farm business, having control over an area. And control over an area starts with relationships. 100%. Support the local businesses, set up fundraisers in their parking lots, set up events, let the community get to experience the community, and you be a part of that community. It's going to go a long way to your success and your career.
That's very well said. So one of the sections we just started doing is the best book section of the show. So what's the best book you've ever read that's made a biggest impact in your
best book that I've ever read that's made the biggest impact on my life? So you're saying beside Mortgages 101?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that even a book? You know what, Ryan? I think today, well, you're asking me the question today. So I would probably say Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And the reason I would say is because recently I've been thinking a lot about the mindset of money on a salesperson, and especially a new salesperson, how heavily influenced they are by money, or in actuality, not having money. Yeah. And I think Rich Dad, Poor Dad will help change your relationship with money, which will then help you become a better person overall, which then kind of helps you become a better salesperson overall. Yeah. So just my personal opinion, I think that's a good one, if, because you're asking me today, but sometimes that changes with the season.
Perfect. We'll put a link to that below so people can check that out if they want to get that book. And what's the best way for our viewers to connect with you or your team or your mortgage brokers? Like, how do you want people to find out?
Oh, absolutely. You know what? For the realtors out there, you definitely want to connect with the CLC Network mortgage agent. We have 8 different brands represented across the entire province. We're going national soon. Mortgage Coach, Capital Lending Center, iBridge, Integrity Mortgage Solutions. There's a ton of great ones. You can connect with us online, capitallendingcenter.com, clcnetwork.com. You can connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Shubes88 on Instagram, Shubha Dasgupta on Facebook, Shubha Dasgupta on Instagram. And I'm always happy to help. I think that align yourselves with a mortgage agent, work together. And I think as a whole, the one last thing that I'd love to leave with as a statement is let's work together on driving our industry forward. Yeah. I think the one thing that the mortgage and real estate industry have done for too long is they look at yesterday and not so much at tomorrow. Yeah. And I think that we together need to look at tomorrow and drive this industry forward. Yep. Let's leave our mark. Let's leave our legacy. And in the process, let's have a wonderful time doing it.
That's awesome. So I won't say anything else because I'll just wrap up with that because that was fantastic. So thank you for being on the show. We really appreciate it. And again, get out there, make relationships, and that's really what's going to drive your business.
Thanks so much, Ryan. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thanks for checking out today's episode. If you'd like more videos like this, be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our Facebook page and our other social media channels. Looking forward to bringing you more great content like this, and happy farming.